Alrighty guys, what is up? Welcome back to Hydroneer with Lone Debater 7, and today we're going to be showing off some of the progress we've made. So as you can see, we've expanded this bottom area quite a bit. I've put in more foundations, bought some extra tools, put some lights in. You can buy everything that's down here at the shop that's close by. So the shop, if we jump out of this hole real quick, that shop right there, you can buy everything that I've used thus far at that shop. Basically what I've been doing is gathering up resources. That way I can build enough money to go to the other shops and buy all the stuff I'm going to need to automate. So in this episode, before we get to automation and everything, I think this is going to be the last harvest. So if we process all this stuff using the new tools that we got, which I want to show off today, we should have enough coins after that to be able to buy all the automation stuff, so we can move on to that in the next episode. But let's kind of go over this, what we've got. So we covered the furnace last time, so that's pretty simple, straightforward stuff. Little tip on the furnace. In case you ever want to combine bars, if you smelt one out and pour it out through the mold and everything, and you're like, oh, well, I have more gold and I'd rather just sell it as one as opposed to two. That way you can, carry it in one trip or whatever. You can melt these back down. Now, you do have to get it to sit inside of the crucible like that, but as long as it picks up with the crucible, drop it in, it'll melt down. So that'll be a really big gold bar. So we're going to make that first. And then we're going to get on to some crafting today. Now, before I started recording, I did go check the stock markets to see what is selling for the best price as far as the craftable items are concerned. And right now, the sword is selling for the most, and then the ring is selling for the most. So those two items are what we're going to craft today, and we're going to craft it using this guy right here, the anvil, and where did our blacksmith hammer go? Fall down here? Yeah, it did. And then we're going to use this blacksmith's hammer to actually make the recipe. So we're going to do that. I'm just waiting for this to smelt up, because since this bar is in there too, it takes a while to melt down. And that's also like maybe 15-20 minutes of digging and down bottom layer soil and direct into the bucket and all that stuff. So there was quite a bit in there. So that should be a sizable gold bar. Now, when you're crafting items, they do sell the same way as like a nugget or a gold bar or whatever would sell, in that they have a price per weight. Now, the higher the price per weight, the more money you're going to make from that individual item, the heavier it is. Now, what determines the weight of like a sword, for example, or anything made with the iron, so you can build a dagger, an axe, or a sword. Out of those three options, what determines how heavy the item is how heavy the bar was, or multiple bars if it takes multiples. How heavy that total weight was will add up to, like, so let's take the sword, for example, because that's what we're building. If you put down the anvil, you click it once with your left mouse, it'll cycle forward in the recipe. So that's for the dagger. It only takes 1 bar. So on this one, however heavy that bar is, that's how heavy the dagger is. So you can increase the amount of money you make off of your iron by crafting them into daggers, as opposed to just selling the bar typically. Do check the bar stock market, because sometimes the bars are worth more than actually crafting the items is. So yeah, just bear that in mind. So we got that. Got our 3 bars, because that's what we need for the sword. I'm just going to set this one here for now. As you can see, that one is much bigger than these two. It's like thicker and everything. So 1 sword, 1 ingot for 1 dagger, and that is going to be based off of the weight of that single bar. On the axe, it takes 2 iron ingots. So for the axe, depending on how heavy both of those ingots are, that's how heavy the axe will be. And then on the sword, which takes 3, depending on how heavy each of these 3 are, that will determine the weight of the sword. So what you actually do when you craft, after you've poured out your bars that you need, we need 3 iron. So you're just going to drop the bars back into the smelter right here and let them heat up so they're red hot. So I'm going to let this one warm up for a minute longer. There we go. Then you just drop them on the anvil, kind of like this. You can stack them, is kind of the best way I know how anyway. Grab your blacksmith's hammer, click the anvil, and just like that, we've got a big ass sword. So I don't know how much that's going to be worth, but we'll check that out in a minute. So those are the iron recipes. Pretty straightforward. Now for gold, there's also 3 different things you can pick from. So for a single gold bar, you can make just a like ring, I think that is, or like a bracelet or something. So you can just turn your raw gold bars into that one, whatever the weight of the gold bar is going to determine the weight of this. You can add a gem with a gold bar and make a ring. So depending on the weight of the gem and the gold bar, will determine that. Now, you can't use raw gems, so you can't use these little clusters. In order to turn these clusters into the usable gems, you just pick up a cluster, so like this one, and you get this grinding wheel. Left click on it, and there we go. We got a sapphire now. I think that emerald is a little bit bigger. I don't know. I don't have a scale, so I'm just saving all these up because there is an item that turns, like, compresses them into one, which is what we're going to do ultimately. But anyway, so that's the ring. That's what we're actually going to make. But just to show you, if you click forward one more, there is a necklace you can make as well. It takes 2 gold bars and 1 gem. Depending on the weight of each of those gold bars, and the gem will determine the weight of the item. So that's kind of how crafting works. It's pretty easy, all things considered. Functionally speaking, it's really easy. But yeah, anyway, you can also go backwards in the list with right mouse. So left mouse is forward one, right mouse is back one. Anyway, so let's go ahead and drop this gold bar. Now for these, I normally put the gold bars down first, and then I put the gems on top. It does pretty good. But there we go, we've got a ring as well, so that's pretty fancy. The other thing I did want to talk about before we go sell those, I have hollowed this out a little bit because I plan on building our automation shit down underground on our starting area, because that's kind of what I want to do. But while I was digging, I found the sword relic. So underneath the starting area, the sword relic is somewhere. I don't know if that's random based or what, but we found it. So this says take it to the Cave of Relics, which is right over here. So I haven't actually ever done this before, so I'm kind of curious to see what happens. Thought we'd show off the sword relic in video. So let's go in, and I think we just put it on one of these pedestals. Is that what we do? Or do we put it on this one? Okay, whatever. It says it's supposed to be in here, so it's in here, whatever. It didn't actually do anything, though, so I don't know. I thought that was going to be more exciting than it was, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and skip to night. So I did buy a bed as well, so this just skips the day-night cycle. If you click on it, it's worth doing, typically, if you don't like playing in the dark. Granted, we have lighting under here, so if I'm underground and don't notice it's night, I won't notice it's nighttime, so it won't matter. But let's take the sword first. This guy's pretty good-sized. And we're going to go to the stock market because it is up in value. So, like, you can sell these crafted items at the jewelers. Like, let's just stop at the jewelers on the way because it's kind of on the way. If we put the sword here, we'd get 22.12 for it, right? So that's not too bad for 3 iron bars. Pretty good. If we go over to the stock market, though, the swords are up at 17.10 per weight. We'd actually get 22.25. So it's only slightly up, so we didn't actually make that much off of it. Honestly, we should have built an axe, so the prices did fluctuate, but that's fine. So we'll take that. So a couple thousand coins, that's pretty good. Let's go grab the ring and see how that does. Now, I do have like 4,800 coins. It's over here. Yeah, I've got like 4,500 coins already, so it's not like we're hurting for money. And I also moved this truck over here because we're going to go pick up a bunch of stuff once I have enough to kind of get everything at the store. Which I should have after selling this ring. Actually, I think the sword pretty much paid for it, but whatever. With the ring included, I should be able to buy everything that's already in the purchase area at the stores because I did load it off in between episodes, and then in case we need anything extra. But $23.71 is what this would sell at the jewelers. Let's see what it does at the stock market. $26.88, so $2,400. So we got a fair amount extra out of that. So there's an extra $46.77 in coins. So once you start crafting items, really you can generate cash relatively quickly. It's pretty easy once you have a blacksmith set up and that level of automation in this game. It's easy to generate a few thousand coins. So like we almost have 10,000 sitting here. It's 9,200, but that is more than enough to buy everything we need to automate our entire setup and do it right with the water right from the get-go and everything like that. One thing I do need to think about, I do need to smelt more of the shard ingots because the water pressure things take those. So we'll talk about all that stuff when we actually build automation, but it's worth talking about. I can't remember if I actually brought the shards that I had up here down with me. It looks like I did. Cool. I have made one of these ingots already. So this will be my second one, but I do need a total of 5. They don't all have to be massive either. I just need 5 individual ingots so I can put them into our accelerators. Granted, if we get a saw, which is in our purchase box right now, we can split the ingots we do have into multiples, and that would work as well, but whatever. So granted, we showed all this off, all the expansion and everything and what we've dug out. We're really going to be moving away from this, though. Like, we probably won't be using the bucket for much longer, if at all. This is corundium ore. We got those 2 nuggets out of mining out basically the bottom layer for this whole thing. So that just shows you how rare corundium ore is when you're going, you know, with the shovel, at least in the starting area. So here's our shard ingot. This power stuff. So I'm just going to put this with our other one. I have it up by the water because this is where they're going to be used, is by the water. So those 2 are pretty close to the same size, I would say. So good. But that is basically us for this one. We caught you up on what we've done. In between episodes, I'm going to go, or well, what we're going to do in the next episode. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. First off, we showed today how to craft, how to refine gems, all the new stuff, and all the progress we've made thus far in this gameplay for this series. In the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to show you where the other town and other shops are, what stuff you're looking to buy with your first few thousand coins. We'll give you a price, target price in that video, because I don't know it off the top of my head. And then we'll probably show you, cut out the driving and maybe show building your first automated sorter setup type thing, or we'll do that in a second episode. But either way, guys, if you enjoyed the episode today, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as always, and until next time, this has been Lone Debater 7, and we will see ya.